were in the hospital, potentially almost died.
Yeah.
And so was there ever like when was that breakthrough moment for you?
Yeah. So I don't know when it was like, I feel like it was a specific moment later in my life, but more or less, I just kept going. So again, I would get out, I would go back in, I get out, I go back in. And then college came around where I graduated high school. I was in high school for maybe like a year of it total. Like I was out and doing I was doing school online before it was cool. I always like to say, but from there, I was like, okay, I need something to like keep me going. So I got accepted to college and I was going to school in Boston. I was from Ohio at the time, so it was not a close thing. So I was like, okay, let's pack up the car, let's go to school, whatever. And I thought I was going to do okay. I convinced my parents to let me do like to move in, see how it goes. And then obviously, if anybody saw anything going wrong, I still wasn't cleared to do tennis. But if anybody saw anything going wrong, I had like mandatory nurse visits I had to do a couple times a week to check my weight and all that stuff. Like they were on me. So they didn't want me, especially the school, to be a liability of, oh, this girl is not really doing well. Why is she in our system? So I failed the nurse visits. Like,
And so were
well,
you on a
I guess
scholarship
I
for
decided,
tennis or
huh?
were you on a scholarship for tennis? Because it sounds like you were a stud athlete. Like you were going through this eating disorder, but you were also like killing it in school and on the court. So I just can't admit like first of
Yeah,
all
so
that
I
like
got a lot
mental
of
fortitude to like not be able to eat, but also be able to kill it is insane.
Yeah, I was on something crazy, but I feel like for me, got a scholarship for academics, so that carried me mainly through. And then it was a D2 school, so they didn't do scholarship for sports because we had D1 hockey, so all their money went to D1 hockey, of course. But I ended up being
Uh,
captain at the end of my college career, I think 2.5 years. And then I was actually coach of our team for the last season. And I was like number one on the team. So I finally figured my shit out eventually and got to where I needed to be. But that was definitely not the first year. I just wasn't even cleared to play. And so I got to the point where I was like, okay, I came to college because I did not want to do college. I just wanted to play tennis. And I'm at this place where I can't even play tennis. And I was doing weekly therapy appointments, my dietitian, like my weekly nurse visits, and all this stuff. And I was just like, this is not how I want my college to go. Like, this is not it. I decided that first week, or I moved in, did orientation, all that stuff. I decided within that first week to take a year off of school. So I'd worked so hard to go into school, and I decided to take that year off of school to then circle back, go back to treatment for a year, figure my stuff out for real this time, I told myself, and then come back to school a year later, not needing any extra supports. Because I was like, I want to do college the right way. I don't want to have to check in with the nurse 2 times a week and then go see my therapist, my dietitian, and all this stuff. And it was just becoming like, I wasn't enjoying college and I was going to be even more stressed with schoolwork and all the things. And I didn't feel like myself. So I was like, give me another year. I'm going to go figure out my stuff. So back to treatment I went. And then that winter break for me, that was the thing. That was the time when everything changed. I went back home to Ohio and I had nothing to do. I had no job, I had no schoolwork, nothing. And so my mission was to eat. And I don't know where it came from, but I put on a good amount of weight in like 2.5 weeks. I swear I would get up and I would eat literally until I would go to bed. And I put on a good amount of weight. Don't know where that came from. And I like to say like that was like faith intervening for me because that was the only thing holding me together in those like low points was like reading the Bible or like studying and just like immersing myself in that. My grandma was really big into the faith. And so seeing her example of like she always prayed the rosary and like she just was a very lovely woman and I wanted to emulate her. And so there's a couple of instances where I'm like, yeah, I should have not been here and miraculously like I was. There has to be something higher. And I grew up in the faith as well, but that was kind of the solidification for me like, oh, okay, I got confirmed. I just went through the motions and I was like, wait, there's something here. So I really just like harped on that through my whole entire like recovery, and then eventually got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm feeling really good. Like I have my ducks in a row. I'm more recovered now. So I went back to school. This time did orientation again. I moved in that year later, and from there, I don't want to say smooth sailing, but smoother sailing. I hired my first fitness coach, and that's kind of where it all ties in. Is like I eventually hired a fitness coach online, which is what I do now, and she changed my life. Like changed my life to this day. Like, I dedicate a lot of my progress to her because she's the one who helped me see that it doesn't have to always be so intense when it comes to food and fitness, and you can still have a life and have the physique you want and have the friendships you want and have other things you enjoy in your life other than just hyper fixating on like food and fitness. So hired her, changed my life, went
Mm-hmm.
back to tennis. Long story short, now I'm a fitness coach, love what I do, stronger than I've ever been. Ended my tennis season, like I said, two-time captain, 2.5 time captain, I guess. Halftime coach, our coach quit, so I was coach for our last season. And yeah, I led the team for a while, and like that for me was like a very big full circle moment from being told I couldn't play to ending my senior year like top of the team.